Hi, this is Dr. Brenda with the Corner Bench. So, since I started recording some of the things that I wanted to do and planned on doing, I haven't gotten a chance to really do. And I'm ready to start them now because I've been taking the time, stuff's been going on, but I'm glad that I'm able to start them. And I shared in previous recordings about beers and chips. And the chips are your challenges, your hurts, your insecurities, your problems, and your scars. And those are things that exist in our lives, things we're dealing with, and things we're going through. And I'll discuss each of those on different recordings. But today I'm going to be dealing with the beers, the behavioral health, the emotional health, economical health, and relational health, along with your social health. So today is a focus on the B. The B is the behavioral health. And generally, it boils down to what can I do to improve my behavior? And I want to be clear that what you do to improve your behavior may or may not be behavior that you recognize in yourself, or maybe that someone else recognizes in you. So don't X out that others may see something positive or negative in you that you may not be aware of. Because we're going through a process of self awareness every day we live, every challenge we face, every time we get to a place where we have grown in one area, there's another area where we can develop. So that's why self growth and development is always happening in our lives. So, what can I do to improve my behavior? First of all, you have to recognize what your behavior is. And basically, I want to be able to focus on an area of a negative behavior because you know what your negative behaviors are. If your negative behavior is sleeping 7 hours and not accomplishing some of the things that sleeping 30 minutes or an hour less or going to bed 1 hour earlier just to be able to accomplish the goals that we set before us. We have obstacles, we have challenges that we face, but the fact is that we're constantly implementing those things that we have already planned or put on paper to do. I want to look at myself. And even if this is going to be a benefit to you, you may want to look at yourself as a project. Always look at yourself as a project you're starting, a project you're in the middle of, or a project that you're just completing. Because there are different phases that a project goes through. So I want to always look at myself as I'm a work in progress. And we've all heard that. But a work in progress is one thing, but being a project is another. And I prefer to look at myself as a project. So, what can I do to improve my behavior? I need to first identify what the behavior is. If it's a negative behavior, if it's a positive behavior. And you should be able to acknowledge your positive behaviors also, because a positive behavior could be being a good friend to someone. That's a exceptional behavior. And that's wonderful. Being able to be the type of person who sends out cards to others. That's a positive behavior. And those are behaviors that you want to continue because those are considerate and thoughtful. And obviously, it makes you feel good about yourself when you let other people know that you are thinking about them. That's just like sending someone a text or a phone call. But those are positive behaviors that you want to always continue to do. But the negative behaviors are the ones that you want to use as the building blocks for your project, for yourself. Think about if there are any areas that you're not happy with about yourself. And sometimes we can make a whole list of things that we are not happy with about ourselves. And don't be so hard on yourself. Your project, pick one thing out, work on that one thing, master it. Like it could be as simple as I want to make sure every morning when I get out of the bed, I'm going to spread my bed up. It may be a simple thing, but it may also add structure to your day. It may also be the catalyst that causes you to go to the next room and make some, oh, I'm going to do this every day, or I'm going to implement that because you're a project. So, what are those behaviors? Acknowledging what those behaviors are and being able to distinguish the ones that are making you happy. One thing that I would say when we're talking about behavioral health is you have to be courageous. B in beers, the B in beers, I would say be courageous. You have to be willing to do something that you would not ordinarily do. And you know these things that you have to be courageous to do are steps in the direction that you want to go in. Steps. And it could be small steps. And I have to constantly, even in these sessions, get a chance to discuss the fact that I'm going through osteoarthritis. And even on this day, I'm waiting for transportation to come pick me up so that I can get that PRP shot in my right knee. But I've been taking these small steps to progress. I want so desperately to be able to be in a position where I can be physically healthy. So, and all of that affects my behavioral health. How am I behaving as a result of this condition, or as a result of that divorce, or as a result of that broken relationship, or as a result of that child dying, as a result of losing that job, as a result of losing that friendship? What is my behavior like after these instances, occasions, occurrences? Some may be after an accident. Of course, we don't plan to be in, but they happen. And I call those things active occurrences because these are things that are happening. No, we didn't plan them to happen, but they are constantly happening. They're occurring all the time. And we want to see how these occurrences, active occurrences, and that's something I phrased, is going on and how it's affecting your behavior. How is it affecting your behavior? Because it's all about your health. Is it showing that you're healthy? Are you still doing the things to foster in the type of happiness, the type of motivation and enthusiasm and zeal that you need in your life in order to carry you from one moment to the next? I can't even always say from one day to the next, because you want to know what? Right about now, most people are just living from moment to moment. And if we can get from one moment to the next, however it is we get there, that's how people become addicted, because they're getting from one moment to the next. Outside of the fact that, there's a psychological thing that goes on with addiction. But yeah, sometimes people use addiction just to get from one moment to the next. And it's unfortunate. So we want to make sure that, what am I doing to me? my behavior, my behavioral health. What am I doing to me? Am I constantly, depriving myself of the joy and the happiness? Am I sabotaging relationships? Am I destroying my own peace of mind? What am I doing to me? Am I making my own life and environment an unhealthy place to be because of my behavior, because of my negative behavior? And is my negative behavior affecting others? Because it can. One thing I try to always share with my children is whatever you do, it's going to affect us all. And it may be too late after it's done, but it's going to affect us all. With the spouse, what you do, it does affect the whole family. It does. Children, what you do, it affects your parents. It affects your life. It affects your friends because you build friendships with these young people. And if you go awry, if you don't do the things that are useful, proper behavior, and I use that word proper loosely because proper could mean so many things in so many different places. When I say proper, I mean behavior that does not violate your own self and integrity and standards and morals and beliefs and disciplines. And that's for every adult too. And sometimes we do things that violate our health, our integrity, our standards. Yes, we do. That's why we're always needing to see ourselves as a project we start, and in some area, a project we're in the middle of. And then there has to be some projects about yourself that you finish. Take an assessment. What's my behavioral health like? What am I doing to me? And then you can ask, what am I allowing others to do to me that's not healthy? We allow others to do things to us that's not healthy. Like talk to us anyway, treat us anyway, handle us anyway. We allow it to happen. Now, and we're not talking about an unhealthy relationship, we're talking about it could be a family member that don't handle you correctly. It could be a relationship where the person is not talking to you correctly. It could be the type of instance where you're at work and you're being handled improperly. And it don't even have to be something that's done openly. It could be very subtle. So how is your behavior being affected by what someone else is doing to you? Is it lowering your self-esteem? Is it making you feel worthless or devalued? To be devalued, like to make yourself think about yourself that you're not worth anything. Oh my God. We're all worth so much. And I can't wait to do one of my sessions on all of those things within us that we can get an opportunity to be able to express. I mean, the gifts and talents that you possess, I appreciate you sharing them. I mean, I remember sitting in a chicken shack one day having lunch. And there was this young girl. She was there. I think she was waiting for her friends to come by from the school because school was ending. So she sat in the chicken shack too, and she just sat in the same seat. I was by myself, and it was an empty seat. And we just got to talking, and at the culmination of the conversation, me asking her questions, I found out that she could sing. And she sang beautifully. And I said, wow, like, thank you for just allowing. God didn't give you that gift just for you. That gift is the type of gift that other people would benefit from. I think God's intention is for each of us to see the absolute beauty in one another. Because we can have some corruption in us. Yeah, we can. That's the truth of the matter. Yeah. And then the mindset, it's so deep. So deep. But what are you allowing others to do to you that is affecting your behavior, your behavioral health? And then I want to ask you, what would you be doing if you were behaviorally healthy? What would you be doing? If you were behaviorally healthy, what would it look like? Would you smile more? Would you contribute more? Would you volunteer? Would you meet somebody new just to make them smile? What would you do if you were behaviorally healthy? Would you apologize? Or would you accept an apology? Would you be able to move on, let go, and get over it if you are behaviorally healthy? I mean, we have to get over some things. Because if we're not over some things, it's going to be effective. We're going to be able to see it in our behavior. If I'm still stuck on a problem, if I'm still hooked on a past, how I was treated, how I wasn't treated, how I should have been treated, why didn't I get treated that way? It's hard to answer all of those questions all the time. It's hard. It's hard. You know what, life, and I'm going to be candid to share this. I was younger, and I think I was like, I know it was before I had children. And I remember I was home. It was my birthday. And I said the only thing I wanted for my birthday was my mom and my dad to call me and say happy birthday. And neither one of them called. I was like, darn, like, neither one of them called to say happy birthday to me. And that affected me for a long time. I felt like I was just about to give a tear, but I'm emotionally healthy in that area because I had to process those thoughts. And then I had a conversation with my sister's companion of many years. Him and my mom used to be great friends. And come to find out that the year that his daughter was born on my birthday, and I didn't find out this conversation until like just maybe a year, 2 or 3 years ago, that my mom was more concerned at that time about him and his daughter. And we had that conversation. Maybe I'm muddling it up, but it explained why on my birthday that year that my mom didn't call me. And you know what? It caused me to be able to let them both off the hook because I didn't understand what was happening at the time. Stuff's still going on. So take people off the hook. Take people off the hook. Take people off the hook because there's no need to be like, oh, you remember when you did this or you didn't do that? It's not a behavior that's healthy for me to keep doing that. So I would pretty much choose. And I never intend to hurt people. I tell my stories. I tell my experiences. I tell my truths. And I'll never apologize for my truths. And I'll never need to lie. I don't have to answer everything, but I never need to lie. And I'm not saying I'm honest about everything, because let every man be a liar and God's word be true. But the truth is, no, I don't have to lie to you. So I'll be candid. I'll be honest. And honesty is not always an easy thing to take. But that's my truth. And that's what I'll share with you. And those things affect our behavior. It affects our behavioral health. Why didn't that happen? Or why not? So I wanna, and I'm sharing some notes because I'm taking the time to express, and these are things that that's already been implemented, but you want to make sure that it's applicable. So that be courageous that I shared with you in this be your behavioral health, be courageous. Sometimes in changing your behavior, you have to be spontaneous. Even if you fail some things a few times. I'm going through this weight loss, and those weeks where I gain weight, I'm motivated more to try and get it off because I don't want to go backwards. I'm feeling fantabulous. Yes, I am. I'm feeling fantabulous in my body. And once I get this shot in my knee, I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to endure that pain for the next couple of days, but I'm interested in being spontaneous. What? Being not just the spontaneously quick and move, but spontaneous to progress. Because I'm a project. So this is the area that I could focus on. I bought that stepper that I shared. For any of you that's following the videos, I'm sure you saw the stepper that I bought to start exercising. I literally was able to not even work on it that day, but I haven't been able to use it ever since. So I'm still looking forward to it, and with the progress that I should be getting, after this PRP shot. So I want to be spontaneous. I want to be courageous. I want to be unwavering. I sometimes we can be tossed between two opinions. Unwavering. I want to be resolute. I just want to be specific and directed in areas. There goes my stages. Either I'm starting a project in my life, I'm in the middle of a project in my life, or there's a project that ended. Always should be a project that ended. What are the projects like? What's a project? A project could be putting together a puzzle. And relax. Maybe you're a little wound up. A little wound up. Maybe you got a little anger issue. Get heated a little quick. Slow down. Well, I'm sharing with customers and clients when we are doing anger management sessions. They may be the type of individual that'll ball up their fists when they, getting a little upset. because that's their natural inclination, is to position themselves, because that's their behavior. So my rule, or I don't want to say rule, but my encouragement is, if you know you're a fist baller, what you need to do is just hold your conversation with your hand flat on the desk, flat on your laps, your lap, whatever. Flat, put your hand just to control your own behavior. Yeah, control your own behavior. Yeah, because you are responsible for your behavior. I'm not the type of person that thinks that, maybe let me say it like this. Some people say, oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. And I think I shared this in a previous session. Like, that's a mistake. Some things aren't mistakes. They're decisions. We all make decisions that we shouldn't have. We all make decisions that we wish we had not have. We all make decisions. Call it a decision. Let it be that decision that you made in that instance. And whatever unfolded after that decision, what you have to do is, now you got another project that you got to work on. Because if you got some dominoes that fell as a result of that decision, and those dominoes affect you, your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your community, your livelihood, then you got another project. You got something to work on. You have to change the course of that situation in any way you possibly can, if at all possible. All things, and I love this, work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. All things. So when I go through stuff, and I cry through stuff, yes, I do. I ain't gonna lie and say I don't cry. I ain't hardly that big. I cry. Yeah. So I may cry through stuff. It don't mean I don't have faith. It don't mean I don't believe. And it don't mean that I don't know that some good is coming out of this for me. I don't care what. I always look at every test and every trial, every obstacle, the hurdles I have to go over. Some good is coming out of this for me. And yeah, I'm going to cry through the whole thing if I have to. If that's helping me to maintain my behavior of keeping myself composed. And yeah, I may grab something to help me. That's where addictions come in, truly. Because I'm trying to keep my behavior. But you have to always know that that is an unbalanced weight. It's an unbalanced weight, because the addiction doesn't solve the problem. It actually adds weight onto the problem, because your behavior is being affected. My behavior has been affected. So that's why it's always important to do these types of checks on yourself. Yeah. Whenever you can, check your behavior, your behavioral health. Check your emotional health. Because, and I'll talk about that, I don't want to even get into the emotional health that much. But it's impossible for you to behave opposite of your emotions. If you're cold, callous, that's going to be your behavior. If you're warm and gentle, you're going to be warm and gentle. If you're conniving and deceptive, Yeah. Why? For whatever reason. It's going to reflect in your behavior. So, how do you reward yourself for good behavior? How do you reward yourself for good behavior? Don't beat yourself up over the head for the bad behaviors. Don't do it. Don't beat yourself up over the head for the bad behavior. And it's good to have a friend too. It's good to have a friend. And I always say, having a good friend to be able to say to you, these are the negative things about you. And they can say those are the negative things about you without stomping their foot in your back or slicing your face or, scarring you up. Because that's not a real good friend. That's not a real good friend. I remember some people were talking about a friend of mine, like negatively. And I know they expected me, because we were friends, to go back to tell that person the things they heard, because they wanted it to be more fester up the problem. And I'm like, why would I even go and say that to my friend? They already know they didn't like each other, so there was no need for me to go and tell my friend the nasty things that somebody else said about them. And of course, it's not, they felt like they were able to say it, not because, oh, I'm going to say those things about her too. No, because they thought I would carry the message to stir it up a little more. No, why would I say nasty things to hurt my friend? And I never to this day. Why? For what? You don't always have to. Yeah. So choose some good friends. Friends that can tell you some negative things about yourself. Yeah, I think that, you handle them a little improper. I think that you could have been a little more open, or you could have listened more. They were trying to share with you what they were saying or what they were going through, and you talked over them the entire time. And, I felt like you were being a little unfair. I'm just saying. It's a way you can say to your friends, or it's a way your friends can say to you, yeah, I think, you might need to wash under your arms a little more. Your deodorant is not, holding you all day. Because, I would want a friend to tell me without saying you stink. You're like, you smell real bad right now. You funky. And it has to be your friend. Because your friend might be able to say you funky, boo. And don't say B, because I'm not all for that. I just am not. But your friend can talk to you, to get the point across without damaging you. Gosh, why she have to say it like that? Like, really? Or why he have to say it like that? He didn't have to come out, out of his face like that. Men say things differently. But yeah, avoid punishing bad behavior unless it's criminal. If it's criminal, yeah, that should be very much punishable. We ain't talking about some behavior that's criminal. Yeah. And if you have criminal behavior, because the Bible says, despise not a man if he steals to feed himself. But it also says he has to pay back retribution, like I think 7 times. Yeah. So yeah. But some criminal behavior, get that under wrap. Get that under wrap. If you got away with it, God help you. Because he sees all. But yeah, we're talking about behavior that is fixable, in a sense that I can change that behavior. I can fix that behavior. I can work on myself. I'm in different phases. I'm at different points. I'm a project. So I'm still going through. So there's like stealing. That's criminal. Looking at sexual promiscuity. It may not be criminal, but people, they have their own way of healing themselves or getting through the moments. Lying and gambling, substance abuse. These are bad behaviors that can take you down a negative path, that can cause you to step out of your own, as they say, character, cause you to behave differently than you ordinarily would. We must be, I would say, fit for society. Whatever that means. Fit for society. I would say my definition for fit for society is that you contribute to the economy. I think that's normal in some way. And everybody is not always able to be fit or able to contribute to society in a sense. I guess that's where all social services come in. But I collected social welfare when my children were very young. I was just out of high school and I got pregnant, and I was on welfare for a number of years. And they probably still got my case number. Because then later years in my life, when my home was foreclosed and I had no income, I went on public assistance. Had to give me some food stamps. I couldn't get any money. And it's a good thing. I'm thankful that I didn't get any money, because it caused me to have to keep working hard. Keep working hard. Because I'm a project. I gotta start a project. I'm in the middle of a project, and there's something that I have to have closed. I'm implementing it. Yes. So I'm going to talk a little more about that. Now, I think that every person should, and I say it in my other segments, talk to a stranger. I think every person needs to have a behind closed doors experience. Everybody. From the youngest child to the oldest adult. I think we all need a behind closed door experience. We need to talk to somebody. And you might not be able to talk to a professional, which is always a good thing to do, if at all possible. We have these health insurances on our job. They have, and see, I'm going over into emotional now. They have these programs that you can go and talk to somebody. You going through a lot, bro, sis, cuz, fam. You going through quite a lot. And sometimes you just might need to talk to somebody. And thank God for good friends and good family, because they can be your sounding board when you're going through stuff that's rough. We go through a lot, a whole lot. From health, behavioral health, All of this is about health. Beers, my behavioral health, my emotional health, economical health, my relational health, and my social health. They're all important. My health. What am I doing? I'm a project. So, since I'm a project, what is a project? So, I'm going to say your project is going to be what you consider as your plan of action, your blueprint. So, say you got, and I'm just going to go with 3 right now. Say you got 3 areas in your life. 3 areas. And that's where that friend can come in. That friend can come in and they can give you, okay, a couple areas that you might need to work on. And there's somebody you trust, as I said. And then you want that friend to tell you 2 areas that it's negative. And it may be only one, it may be none. But just be honest. We're all improving. We're all improving. And then ask them to give you 4 things positive about you. If you can give me 1 thing negative, give me 2 things positive. Let's always outweigh that negative because we're rewarding good behavior. Yeah. They may say, you know what? I appreciate so much how during the time I was sick, you called me, you checked on me, you came to see me. Yeah, that's a positive. That's a behavior. That's a healthy behavior. It's a healthy behavior. So if they're sick and say something negative, they can also say 2 things positive. Require it. Yeah, because people can just keep on dumping on, yeah, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that, and this too. Some people know how to lay it on kind of thick when you ask them what's wrong with me. But if you ask them what's wrong with them, they may say nothing. They may say not a thing. And when you know there's some things, may they be courageous to give you that same opportunity to share if there's any things that they need to improve on. Yeah. So I'm going to call this your project, right? I'm a project. I am a project. And I like working on myself. I remember I had become prejudiced. I worked in, companies where I'm like the only person sitting in a meeting that's Black. So, of course, it happens, y'all. It truly happens. People say some racist stuff. And it can get at you. It can get at you. I'm like, you know what? You can't even affect my behavior. That's your problem. Thankfully. But it can get at you. So, I say, I'm a project, right? I went there for some reason. I don't know if I forgot it or not. But I'm calling this the 4 phases of me. And it's pretty much the 4 phases. Some, implement. I mean, some readings have more, can have a lot more phases inside of a project. But I just want to use these 4 because it's like, it's easier. Keep it simple, sweetie. So the 4 phases of me. Initiation. What am I starting? You got to always be starting something. Starting something. You want to know, you could start reading positive quotes. Read 1 positive quote a day. If that's not you, read one article about fixing a toilet. If that's something that may interest you. Yeah, usually we read what interests us. When we're interested in something, we're more apt to read it. So, yeah. So, initiation, what are you starting? Are you starting a new book? Are you starting a new project? Maybe you like science and you just want to start a little science project. Are you starting learning how to bake cookies? Are you starting knitting a sweater? Making some handkerchiefs? Starting a business? Starting a movement? What are you starting? Are you starting a support group? You gotta be starting something. Got to be starting something. That's what Michael Jackson said. You gotta be starting. I don't own the rights to that music. That just popped up in my head. Please forgive me if I did something wrong. But yeah, you gotta be starting something. You got to be starting something. And you want to know what? Truth be told, I did not want to start this social media. And I knew that at some point I had to start the social media. I knew it. It's just like it's a lot of work. And it's like, if I start it, I'm going to finish it. If I start it, I'm going to keep it up. And that's the whole thing. I can't say I won't fail. I never start something worrying about whether it fails or not. If it's something that I think that we have seasons. We have seasons. And I think that I want to, in this video, we have seasons. And the reason why is because I'm going to get my shot in my knee. I did tell you that earlier. This is kind of taking longer than I intended it to take. Well, it's not. I really intended to take an hour, but I really want to get into the 4 phases of me. And I think I'm going to do that after I come back. I'm going to be like sedentary for a while, so I'm going to be doing these probably sitting in my bed. And if I feel good, maybe I can sit on the corner bench. I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm having fun. This is my element. All of the other stuff before is just fluff, because I had to keep the numbers running, keep stuff going on until I can actually get to this place. I enjoyed all the, showing and the modeling and stuff like that. But generally, I like to run my mouth and talk. As you can see. But hopefully I have something worthwhile to talk about. So I will see you again shortly. You have a great day. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this.